Hello, ma'am. Welcome to Gist with SC. Thank you so much for honoring us.
Thank you, Ase. How are you? Good evening, everybody. It's good to be
Okay,
here.
so before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Come on, Ase. You've said everything. What else is there to say? Well, like she already said, my name is Ezinne Kufre Ekanem. The Kufre Ekanem part I must stress. He likes to hear me add his names to my name. Um, yeah, I am a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats, but I like to describe myself simply as wife, mother, child of God.
Oh, okay. So, in a world filled with so much vanity, how do you begin a journey to becoming the best version of yourself?
In a world filled with so much vanity. Yeah. Okay. The Bible also tells us that vanity upon vanity, everything
Vanity.
is vanity. So it means that it and find ourselves. It's pretty simple the way I understand it. If God went to such great extents to create us to be unique and very individual in the way He made us, there are no two people that look like me. No two people have my palm, my fingerprint. God took His time to tread us, to make us, to be unique, to be us. And we come to this earth fully loaded for the path He wants us to walk, for the lives He wants us to live. So I think it's a disservice to yourself to get here and choose not to be yourself and decide to be somebody else. Vanity or no vanity, noise or no noise, distractions or no distractions. What you owe yourself is to find who you are. That's the beginning of finding purpose. So you see, it's like Essay now, you're doing Gist with Essay, which is a talk show. If I wake up because I have the ability to speak and jump and begin to do Gist with Ezinne, I am just going to miss it. So you need to find who you are. First of all, who does God say you are? Then when you now realize who God says you are, then you find yourself in that purpose. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Doesn't mean that you should do all things. You can be all things through Christ who strengthens you. Doesn't mean that you should be all things. Some of us have 10 talents. I do agree. But it doesn't mean that all 10 talents must happen at the same time. There is sequencing. There is one after the other. So you can bake, you can sing, you can dance. You don't have to do all three at the same time. So which one is the lowest hanging fruit? You start with that one. And then you now move on. After you've grounded that one, you move to the next one and to the next one and to the next one. So how do you avoid distractions? You avoid distractions by starting from the end to walk back to where you are. So if you understand that you're on this planet Earth on a journey to somewhere, so just imagine that you have gotten to that point where you're supposed to be going to, then walk backwards to living. And that point where you're supposed to be going to is perfection, because perfection, the best you, because the Bible says that, we will have to appear before Him radiant. Okay, so it means that you understand that that is what He wants. He doesn't see the Ezinne that I know today. He sees the Ezinne that He has made me to be. So walk back from that point and then go back and then cut out as as you're just doing it, you cut out the things that are not there. In business speak, we'll say do a SWOT analysis on yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities? And what are the threats that you see? Now, when you magnify your strengths, your weaknesses diminish. And frankly, it's not our strengths that bother us. It's our weaknesses. If I'm doing something and it's going great, the moment something goes wrong, I will instantly forget all the highs, all the things that have gone great, and I will now focus on the little thing that is very tiny, that is negligible, and I will begin to magnify it. That's how the mind works. You magnify it to the point that it overwhelms all the good and all the great things that has happened before. So, but that is what we should not be doing. We should actually be doing the opposite of that. We should magnify our positives. We should magnify the objectives that are clear to us. We should magnify our individuality. We should magnify the things that make us peculiar. Because if I choose not to be Ezine or the best of Ezine, then I cheat Ezine and I rob Ezine. Because who will be Ezine if I decide to be Eze? So it is your responsibility to mute the noise, to mute the vanity, to actually be flint focused like an eagle on where you're going to, and continually build on yourself every day to become the best you that you can possibly be. And then the grace of God will help you with the rest as you go.
Wow, that's great. You recently wrote and published a book titled Up You. Can you please tell us the inspiration behind that book?
Could you come again? I didn't hear that.
You recently published a book called Up You.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the inspiration behind it? Yeah. I have my copy too.
Oh, wow. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Hold on, I'm having a glitch here. Just hold on a second. Okay, let's roll. Go on, Effie. Good, beautiful.
Yeah, I can see you, I can hear you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was asking about the inspiration behind the book you just wrote.
Oh, okay. Well, Up You, that's the title of the book that I just wrote. This is a book about going onwards and going forwards and going upwards only. In 2014, I had to give a talk to a group of women, and I shared about some principles that I live my life by, some principles that I've found very workable and very doable and very practical. A set of 12 principles, and I shared these principles with them, and it was so well received. In fact, I was nearly mobbed that day. It wasn't as if these things are brand new or anything, but it's just that, I broke it down in ways that the next ordinary person can connect and decide to take on a few. And if you do decide to do these things, you see achievable results and changes in yourself within the first 21 days, 7 to 21 days, you start seeing things change for you. And so I shared that, and it was so well received and everything. And that led me to share it some more in several places, in several other countries. So I kind of tested it in Nigeria, in America, in London, in South Africa, and the response was largely the same. And I said to myself, why are you restricting this message? Give it wings to fly. So I put it down. I put it down in a book, and yeah, it's there. It's called Up You. It has 12 nuggets or 12 chapters with 12 things that you can do. It ranges from you standing up, to signing up, to soaking up, to shaking up, to showing up, speaking up, stacking up, sitting up, stocking up, shooting up, scaling up, and serving up. Every human being on planet Earth wants to go only one way, up. There's nobody who wants to go down. And so what I'm teaching in this book, or what I've served in this book, are the various ways that you can just keep going up and you keep giving yourself a thumbs up. The fact is that if you yourself can give yourself a thumbs up for something that you've done, then you don't need any other person to validate you. Where I come from, in the Igbo speaking part of Nigeria, where I come from, we have a saying that the lizard climbed up and came down and nobody clapped for it. And so he just nodded his head and said, you have tried. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is Up You to himself. So one should be able to give oneself an Up You sign every now and then. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go to my next question. Tracy says, can we get the book in bookstores outside Nigeria? I will answer that for you, Tracy. Yes, you can. I got mine, as you can see it here, on Amazon. So you can get the book. Just go to Amazon and search up you. It will bring out the link, and then you can, do the purchase.
Thank you.
Yeah. So to my next question.
Yes, please.
Chapter 2 of your book, you said you talked about some of the fears that haunted you in the beginning of your journey. Can you please share some of them with us?
Actually, there were quite a lot. I had a lot of fears. I had fear of failure. I had the impostor fear. What if I'm not who I say I am? I had fear of missing out somewhere. What if I'm pursuing this dream and this is really not the dream and I'm really missing out on where the real dream is? Of course, there was the fear of no money, no connection. I didn't even know if I had a calling. Were you called into this thing or are you forcing yourself into this thing? I had all kinds of fear. I had all kinds of fear assail me. But here we are today. And I'm very sure that
get out of those fears, because I can relate with FOMO, the one you call FOMO, fear of missing out.
Mm-hmm.
Because early on in my life, after I finished the university, I had like 3 job offers, good job offers. Now, I had started a job before I finished school, and it was promising. It looked like, okay, after you finish your youth service, you can just go back to that job, right? But unfortunately, I had other job offers that came up. And so I was like, okay, do I retain this job or do I go for this other one that's equally as promising? What if I continue on this path? What are the opportunities I'm going to miss out? I was, indecisive for a very long time. And then at the end of the day, I picked one. Unfortunately, it ended. And I expected it to. And I was like, oh, if only I had taken
the other one. Exactly. That is it. Exactly. Because when I was starting out, I had a job. And my job sent me out of Lagos, where I lived, to Ibadan. Yeah. And it was before the mobile phones. And so I couldn't get across to my husband to tell him that I was going out of town, or to tell him to pick up our daughter. At that point, our daughter was 1 year, 3 months old. And I was on this beloved trip from my beloved job that I loved so much. But I got back into town at about 9 p.m. and school had closed. I had no way of communicating to my husband, so he didn't go to pick our daughter. And so the girl was in school until 9 p.m. Being a Wednesday, I came home, then I went to church. I met my husband in church. And then church was over. I said to him, please bring our girl, let's go home. And he goes upstairs and then comes and says she's not there. I said, what do you mean she's not there? Didn't you get her from school? And he says, no, you normally get her from school. I said, didn't you get my message? I sent a message to you. It dawned on both of us at the same time that this 1 year, 3 months old baby is still in school. And then church for us was in somewhere in Ikeja, in Agidimbi, Lagos. And school was somewhere in GRA. So we raced all through to the school. We heard her before we saw her. She was wailing. She was wailing. Thank God for good school. Thank God they left someone to take care of her. She was wailing. They had battered her. Food had finished. They poured powder on her. She was looking like a white angel.
Okay. Hello. Hello.
There and then I took the decision that I won't walk any longer. All that consideration of fear of just flew out of the window, because it became very clear to me that first things have to be first.
Yes, true.
So I took the decision. That I'm not going to do any more paid employment. I need to be in charge of my time to be able to take care of my child. I can't go to work in the morning and they send me on official assignment, and then will I say I'm not going? Of course, they'll fire me. So, and I said to myself, it's more important for me to raise my child properly. So I opted from paid employment and lost a large source of income. So sometimes, if you have the luxury of consideration, then you can start considering FOMO. But sometimes some things happen and you just take a decision instantly. And you know in yourself that you've taken the best decision that you can take, you know. So the fears are there, and then we all have to deal with these fears one way or another. But you see, I always say to people, if you have already written down for yourself what you want, who you want to be, and where you are going to, then it becomes a little easier to take, balanced decisions when the fears assail you.
Okay, so from the list of fears, the one that I think weighs down on me the most is the fear of failure. Because you see, with the fear of finance, no money, at least I can hustle, I can, loan, I can get a loan. There's so many things I can do, or I can just patiently wait till I'm able to raise the money, right? With the dream still. But the fear of failure is crippling. It's so crippling that, when you see how big your dream is, and then you're like, okay, what will it take for me to? And then you're looking at yourself like this tiny person, like, how can I be that person that I'm saying? Do you get me? And then you just, okay, you know what? Let me just sew my coat according to my clothes because I'm not. How do you get over that fear? Because it has killed a lot of dreams.
Yes, you can say that again. But you see, now, fear of failure, I don't know. Personally, I'm going to talk for myself. I don't know where I got it from. But growing up, I saw failure as something really, really not good. I felt if you failed at something, then, woe to you.
For life.
Yeah. So I used to be so afraid of failing. But I've had to reorientate myself now. Because honestly, what is failure? Failure is eliminating what doesn't work. So I try making ice creams and I fail at making ice creams. I know that making ice creams is not my thing. So I moved to making sandwiches. And then you just keep doing that. The thing I think is we need to expand our minds. And then we need to feed our minds positive pools of information. First, the mind is limitless and is infinite. But we come and then we give it time. We say we must blow by the time we're 20. So already, by the time you get to 20 and you don't blow, you start thinking of yourself as a failure. But you see, if you understand that your mind is limitless, just say to yourself, I'm going to be a success. And then begin to do the work. Put one leg in front of the other. The owner of the universe will blow you when he wants to blow you. You just keep putting one leg in front of the other. And again, fear of failure is because we are looking at our peers. We're looking at our neighbors. Oh, Asa now lives in London and she's doing so well. Oh, I haven't even left the shores of Nigeria. Come on, bloom where you are. Asa's destiny might be in London. Your destiny is in Lagos, Nigeria. Your destiny is in Umuahia, Abia State. Your destiny is Unuyo in Akwa Ibom State. Your destiny is in Canada. It's not meant for anybody. If you dash me all the money on earth, I'll probably not go live in Canada. It's so cold for me. So for anybody to tell me that my destiny is in Canada, I'm not envying you at all. But I digress now. So fear of failure, it's a mind thing really, because I have come to embrace one what will I call it now? One explanation of fear being, or one meaning of fear being what's that again? Fear being what? Not just there. Fear is just a myth. It's not just there. It's just in your mind. It's galvanized in your mind. It's something that if you can put it together and hold it together, you find that there's really nothing there, because the truth is that most of the things you were afraid of in your life haven't come to pass. Most of the things you've been afraid of in your life did not materialize. False evidence appearing real. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. False evidence appearing real. So the fear is what you're entertaining in your mind. And frankly, if you feed your mind long enough, it cripples you and you actually start believing that, yes, it's possible, it's going to happen. But if you feed your mind the other way, the opposite of fear is faith. So if you faith your mind, you give your mind faith food, faith pill, you are Ezine, you are good enough. You can be all you want to be. You affirm yourself every day, every morning, first thing before you get out of your bed, every night, last thing before you sleep. You affirm and reaffirm yourself over time. You're not going to, fear won't pop up as top of your top 10 things. Fear won't be there. That won't be the first thing that will be popping out at you. Other things like, so how do we do this will pop out. So what to do next will pop out. So break this down. So who do we need to invite to share this dream? So where do we get funding? How do we get this? Should we phase this out? Other more serious questions, more constructive questions that will ginger you to take action will crop up. And then you find that the fear begins to diminish and diminish and diminish and diminish and diminish. In my experience so far, the fear doesn't entirely go, which is a good thing, because it's also good to have a little bit of fear that keeps you in check, so that you don't begin to think that you are now an angel when you're still a human being. So a little bit of fear is fine, but the kind of fear that you're going to be feeling it and then you're still going to be going forward.
Okay, I hope that answers your question. Tracy said, how realistic is it to actually overcome fear?
Well, Tracy, like I said, you don't exactly overcome, but you mute it. Yeah, that's the word. You mute the fear enough to go out after what you want. If we have all been told, and like we know, like I know, if your dream doesn't scare you, then it's man-sized. So, and I tell people all the time, dreams are free. And that's one thing you should give yourself large doses, American size. When you want to dream about your life, dream in American size, dream Texas, big dreams, so that when you fall, you can now fall on, if you're going to fall, yeah? But you can imagine if you start with paint-sized dreams, it means that when you fall, you're on the floor already. So you need to dream very big. It needs to scare the living daylights out of you, and then you now go forward on it, and then you find that when you're falling, you're developing muscles, and then you just look, you're not on the ground. And if you're not on the ground, you say to yourself, like I say to myself, the people who have done it don't have two heads. I'm yet to meet a human being that has two heads. So I said to myself, the people who have done it don't have two heads. And what I am going after, what I am dreaming about, is legitimate. So if it is legitimate, then I have every right to go after it. So you go after it. However, you should be able to put yourself and your dreams and your goals and the steps to achieving them in check realistically. What does that mean? Don't say to yourself, I'm going to build Warner Studios in 5 years when you live in a country like Nigeria and your source of funds is coming from Nigeria. It will not happen, because nobody is going to give you a 1-digit figure as interest or even give you the loan in the first place. Yeah? So you set those realistic checks while you keep going on that chase. The thing that happens about chasing your dream is that you do day 1, month 1, year 1, year 2, year 3, then compound interest comes in, and then before you know it, exponentially, you just blow up. But you must take that first step towards chasing that dream. And it's as you achieve one and give yourself an up you sign in the first one day, in the first 1 week, in the first 1 month, in the first 1 year, then everything about you becomes up you, up you, up you, up you. The universe now your universe will now conspire with everything else. It will bring you the right connections, it will bring you the right people, it will put you in the right place, it will order your steps, and that dream falls right into place. And then that's what the world will see and say, aha, but the world forgot day one, week one, month one, year one. There is no overnight success. There is no such thing.
Yeah. I was just, from what you've been saying, something just occurred to me now. You're trying to become the best you. Your journey to becoming the best you.
True.
But so you have a big dream, but you're not there yet. Now, there's something that we usually say: packaging matters. Your impression. But packaging these days, with what's going on social media and all of that, is something else. How can you package your true self neatly enough to be able to make your connections without faking it? Okay, so we're talking about people who are going to go and borrow car and borrow wardrobe. You get what I'm saying? To make an impression, to go and give a pitch in a company or something. Sometimes it works. They buy your pitch, they give you the funding, you return the car, buy your own car. They won't even know that you came like that in the first place. Do you think that is really necessary to do all of that? Or it's okay for you to go just as you are?
You know, I wouldn't go that route. I personally would not go the route of borrowing a car and going for a pitch. I would arrive and you would think I came with a car if I had none. So I'd rather work on my confidence. I'd rather work on who I am, the person, the deliverables, than borrow the accompaniments. A long time ago, before I ever bought a car, people used to come and say to me, "Can I ride out with you?" Because I looked like I owned the car when I didn't have a car. I didn't even have a bicycle. You grow yourself. You see, these things do not define you. You have to get yourself to that point where you believe it. Whether you have a car, you don't. A car is a tool, is a means of moving from one point to the other. Yeah, some of us have some really fine cars, but ultimately, what does it do? It takes you from point A to point B. Yes, we would all like to travel in class. No problems about that. But I think it's a bit speaking about your person, your personality, a bit of inferiority complex for you to go and borrow a car just for appearance purposes. I tell you something. A few years ago, I had a fall, and so I had a bad knee, and so I used to wobble. In fact, I used to sometimes go on a wheelchair. If I was doing international flights, I'll go on a wheelchair and everything. So I had worked for a gentleman who works in an oil company. I had furnished his house and everything, and his mom came around and liked the house and everything, and asked him to invite the interior designer to come. And so he told me his mom wanted me to also come and do their home. His own father is also a top shot guy in another oil company. Yeah. So I arrived their home that day, and they threw open. Of course, I had called, so they were expecting me. So they threw open their gates and everything, and I drove in and I parked. And then the mom already came out, because as far as she was concerned, this woman that did her son's house, this nicely, correct babe and everything. And there I was. I drove myself, and there I was. I opened my car, and I came out, and I started wobbling with my bad knee, chickwe, towards her front door. You could see her face. It was man. Her face was like, what's going on? They didn't tell me this woman is a cripple. What's going on? I just walked in and said, hello, good evening. My name is Ezine. Nice to meet you. Your son said you wanted to do over your house. And she goes, well, yes, come in. So I go in.
And then she says, this is the house. I said, okay, I'll take a look and I'll let you know what I think about the property. And that was it. She didn't now follow me to show me around or anything because she had made up her mind, I'm not going to give this woman my job, right? But of course, I went around her whole house and I made my notes. And when I finished, I came down, I said, I'm done. She said, okay, thank you. So I'll give you a call. I said, no, I'll give you a brief. Let me give you my impressions about your house. Shall we sit? And so we sat down and I started going over my notes. And then as I was taking her through her building, her property, what could be done and what cannot be done, you could see the respect coming back in. You could see the confidence coming back on. She didn't know when she blotted out, oh my goodness, I made up my mind I'm not going to give you my house to do. And I said, why would that be? She said, you have a bad knee. And I said to her, is it the knee that is furnishing the house or my brain? Until tomorrow, we are very firm friends. And we laugh about it now. She said, this is how I would have, you almost lost the commission because of what? There are people who are vain. There are people who judge you by what you look like and stuff like that. But you should build yourself to the point that, because all you've got, in business parlance, we call it the elevator pitch. All you've got is 2 minutes to make an impression on someone. So you must always make sure that the first 2 minutes upon meeting someone, that you've said all the things you want to say, really. And so whatever happens, the person walks away the impression of who you are. If you require a car, if you require me to be seeing you off, you require me to be seeing you off to see the kind of car that you have before I can decide, oh, okay, this is the kind of person I want to be associated with, then something is wrong. I may decide not to see you off that day. So what happens? I've lost it on your car. So I always tell people, young people when I teach them, and even myself, keep pouring into yourself. Spend 1 hour every day to learn something new about the things that are important to you. If you can't find 1 hour, use your commuting time. Lagos is filled with hold-ups. I read, that's why I don't complain about the hold-up because I use it to catch up with reading. And there are all kinds of things now. There are the audio books. There are all kinds of things you can do. So you can read and get. And then we're living in such a time that information is just at the tip of our hands. So why are we not getting it? If we have these things, then you know what? We don't need to borrow pose. I do also believe in packaging, but the right kind of packaging. I'm wearing Ankara. Yeah? I don't see anything wrong with it. I didn't break a bank to wear it. I'm wearing it so very well. It suits me. It's nice. I'll make it clean. I'll iron it. But if you just keep growing until when you get to the point where you can buy the glitz and the world, and if you're that kind of person, please go ahead and indulge. But don't go out of your way to be who you're not just so, quote and unquote, you can belong. No, it always backfires. They always find you out. So I rather your authentic self, and let those who like you for you, like you for you. Let those who want to employ you, employ you. Let those who want to be your friends, be your friends. You don't need hangers on. And you don't need wannabes.
Yeah, let me just read Tracy's comment. She says, your courage is very important. Now she's agreeing with what you said. It's really not about what you wear. It's more how you wear what you wear. So self-confidence.
Exactly. I agree with her. 100%. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So can you give us some tips on things that we can do on a daily basis, to just get, continue on the journey of becoming the best you can be?
I'll tell you what I do on a daily basis. And then if you find that it works for you, you can, if you think it will work for you, then you can also do it. On a daily basis, I tap into a higher power. I am a firm believer of God and his ability to do all things. So on a daily basis, I must commune with God. I must talk to God. I must pour out my heart to him. I must ask him to bless me and order my path and send me to the right places where I can get the things that I want. On a daily basis, I affirm myself. I tell myself, you're beautiful. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. There is nobody that is brighter than you are. I tell myself I attract only love. I attract kindness. I attract the kind of people that I want to associate with because I've already made a list of the kind of things that I want or the kind of people that I want. On a daily basis, I go out and I do something.
Yeah.
I have come to realize that God doesn't bless nothing. If you check the Bible, He will say, what is in your hands? What do you have? For one, the one answered, I'm holding a staff. That staff converted to something else, eventually parted the Red Sea and led the whole of Israel out of Egypt. Another one said, I have a little dough and small oil. I want to just bake and eat with my son and then we'll die. But they didn't die. He said to them, go and bring in more jars. And then when they brought in more jars, he kept filling it and filling it and filling it. That oil didn't run dry until all the jars were closed. So God does not bless emptiness. You can't say, He can't say to you, you can't say to God, please bless me. And then He says, what do you have? And then you say nothing. So every day I write down what I have. And based on what I have written, I now do something about those things. Whether that action is going to yield something for that day or not, I take it. Because it is in the movement that the universe now helps you. If you're doing nothing, nothing will change. If you do something, you will learn something, and then something will change. And then another thing that I do is what? I don't entertain negativity. I don't entertain negativity.
Okay.
I don't. So there's nothing you're going to do that will make me think negative of anything. No matter how negative the situation is, I'm going to find some positive things in it. I've woken up hungry. I've woken up without money in my pocket. I've woken up sick. Any kind of challenge anybody out there is having, I've had it. Listen, just recently, my husband had stroke. Not one, but twice. Oh, yes. In the last 6 months of my life. But here I am today talking to you. Here I am today talking to you because you ride the storm and you're positive about it. And then you get positive outcomes and then you move on. So what do I do in my life? I am positive. I am firm. I accept the word of God for what it is. And He said He came that I may have life in abundance. I believe Him. And so I have life in abundance. And then I don't leave what I can do today for tomorrow. There are no carryovers. If it's supposed to be done today, if I can do it today, I get it done today. So those are the kind of things that I do. And so maybe it will be meaningful to somebody else out there.
Okay. At your end, is the video frozen?
You cannot see me?
I can see you, but it's frozen.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't know how that is.
Okay, so if the viewers can still hear us, can you just drop a comment to say that you can still hear and see us clearly, please? Can anyone from your end, has anyone from your end sent a message in?
It says that you're on the show, everyone can see and hear you.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So yeah, we'll just go ahead. So the important thing is keeping it positive.
Yeah.
Okay, so where can one look in the mirror, look at their achievements and say to themselves, up you?
Today. Today.
Today.
No matter, yes, today. No matter where you are at, today, look in the mirror and tell yourself, up you. You see, we have a saying where I come from, that if you praise a man for what he has done, he will do more. We are usually hardest on ourselves. We are usually hardest on ourselves. We cut every other person's slack, but we don't cut the same slack for ourselves. Maybe because we know the dreams that we carry in our hearts. Maybe because we know that, oh, okay, we want to build skyscraper and we're still on ground floor. So we don't appreciate the ground floor. But when you look at it in context and see that a whole lot of people are still under your foundation, there are a whole lot of people that want to be on that ground floor where you are. They haven't even dug their own foundation. They haven't sand-filled it. They can't even get a ground floor. Then you realize that you owe yourself an up you. And when you appreciate yourself for what you've done, then yourself feels appreciated. There's a way the mind works, because the mind controls everything that we do. When the mind realizes that you appreciate yourself, it gives you more ideas. It just throws ideas at you that gets you going to the next level. So today, if you can hear my voice, wherever you are, just look in the mirror, look at yourself, praise yourself, thank your maker, and say to yourself, up you.
Wow. Wow, that's a great one. Thank you so much. Thank
Very
you
welcome.
so much. That's so encouraging. That's so motivating. In fact, when I read the book, I made a note. I haven't dropped my review yet. I'm going to drop it more. I couldn't put down the book. You know,
Thank
when I get a
you.
new, every time I get a new, this is why I do. I tell myself, okay, how many chapters? 12. So I'm going to do in a day, I'll take 1 hour to read about 2 or 3 chapters, depending on how fast, you know. So I told myself I would read the book in 3 or 4 days, right? I finished it in 1 day.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't put it down.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm not just someone who just reads. I have a pen and I'm taking notes. I don't even wait to get to the portion of the book, because that's another good thing about the book. You have, you know, you have created space for people to take notes. I don't even wait to get there. It's my book, right? I bought it, so I make my notes right beside whatever point, you know, that I'm reading that's making sense to me at that
Yeah.
point in time. Yeah. So it's a really good book. I encourage everyone to get it. It's called
I'm humbled. Thank you. I'm
You were saying
humbled
something?
very. I said I'm humbled very. Thank you. You just made my day. Up you.
Yeah, it's a very fantastic book, honestly. So now let's digress a little. What do you
Okay.
do for fun? I'm still
For
scrolling on
fun.
my end and I can't even see any of my comments. I don't know why.
What can we do? Now I can see my face only. Hello, Ese, are you there? Hello, Ese.
Okay, fine. This is what I should have done since. So now
Okay,
everything
we're
is
back
fast.
on. Yeah.
I can see you now. Can
I'm
you hear
here.
me?
Of
Okay,
course,
fine.
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, let me do this again. I don't know if they could see it when I did it earlier. This is the
Okie
book to read, guys.
dokie. Okie
You
dokie.
can,
Thank you, Asa. You just made my day. Thank you so much.
you're welcome anytime. It's a good read. So, you know, if it wasn't, I'll probably not say anything about it. I'll just say, okay. But no, you guys need to get to Amazon. Come back and thank me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and then, yeah, so what do you do for fun?
For fun.
Because I know you're very busy. You're in the office from morning till night, weekends. So what do you do for fun when you're
Don't be
not working?
deceived. Don't be deceived, Asa. Don't be deceived that I'm very busy. What I do for a living is actually fun. My work is fun.
Okay.
I get to meet different people every day.
Okay.
And we discuss whatever it is they do. So in a day, I can get to speak to an architect, a dancer, a baker, depending on who owns the house I'm doing. So, like you, I just with all of them. Only that my gist is not documented or is not televised, but I do have a lot of fun, gisting with people. But seriously, when I'm not working, what do? I grab a book to read for fun. I love to travel and hibernate. And wait for it, I dance.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I do.
What does dancing do for you?
Everything. It allows me express myself because I don't dance to the steps in vogue. I just create my own. I just create my own dance and dance one. Two,
Okay.
it also enables me get in the much needed exercise, which my throwing and throwing doesn't allow me to do all the time. And then it
Yeah.
allows me to really sing on top of my voice and disturb everybody, and they know I'm around, which is something I enjoy to do. And it's just a moment of letting down your hair where you are not the CEO of something or the producer of anything. I mean, you're just you and you're just doing your thing and catching your phone. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah. And did I tell you I like to eat meat?
No, you didn't say that.
Oh, I do. And I can drive from here to Ibadan just to buy a certain kind of meat and then eat
Wow.
it all the way coming back to my house. And
Wow.
that for me, it's fun. That for me, it's fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first time. I've never heard that before.
Oh,
I've
no,
never heard of
yeah.
anyone like eating meat for fun.
You know what? When you come to Lagos, Nigeria sometime, just let me know. I'll take you to this joint. And believe you me, you'll be as hooked as I am.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hmm.
Looking forward to that.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so you made mention of being a producer and all that. Can you just
Yes.
give us, because I'm going to let you go in a minute, but tell us a little bit about Hymnodia.
Oh, Hymnodia. Oh, God, Hymnodia. Hymnodia is the first of its kind ever. Oh, thank you, Lord, for this vision. Hymnodia is about creating new hymns, reharmonizing old hymns, reigniting the culture of hymn singing. Lately, church music hasn't just been church music. If you listen really, the difference between the secular music and the church music is only in the words, not even in the beat or in the arrangement or
No.
anything.
Yeah.
So, not being one to complain, my husband came up with this vision to get the young people singing the good old hymns we grew up with again. And we kind of thought that if you just say come and sing hymn, they won't come. So we kind of created it to become a reality TV show. And so we take 15 of them and then we'll put them in a house for 14 weeks. We'll teach them the rudiments of hymn singing, hymn writing, hymn rendition, and all of that. They do that without any distractions, no phones, no outside interactions, 14 whole weeks. And they come up with brand new hymns. And they render these on a weekly basis on 15 television stations across Nigeria.
Wow.
And and then eventually people vote for the people they like and people they want to stay on, and ultimately one person emerges the true hymnodian for the season.
Wow.
And it's been quite interesting. Some of the hymns that have come out, we have about 120 new hymns which we're going to be releasing by God's grace into the kingdom for use possibly at the end of this year or first in January before we start season 3 by God's grace.
Okay.
So we are putting everything together so that we can put it out with the music notes. So it's easy for someone like you to see it and know the tonation, the beats and everything to be able to sing it in your choirs and in your churches.
Yes,
So yes, we are raising a generation of people, hymn writers. So that all the hymns that we're singing in our churches won't be written by so and so 1902. We're going to have hymns written by so and so 2019, so and so 2020. Hymns that actually speak modern English and all of that, and hymns that are actually church music. Because you see, when you sing, ultimately we're going to go to heaven to sing hallelujah. That's what the Bible says. So when you sing, when you sing to glorify God, It should edify,
Mm.
it should enrich, it should entrench, because singing is like praying 2 times. So you go to church and you hear a sermon, then the hymn that is being sung in the church should reinforce the sermon that you've heard and give you some moments of peace and quiet for you to reflect and for you to think about your life, and think about what you want to do or the things you need to change or what you need to talk to God about. So these are the things that we're trying to do with this program. And then so far, God is kind. God is kind.
Wow.
It's had 2 good seasons.
2 good seasons. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't. Yes. Especially in our Pentecostal churches, we don't sing hymns a lot. You don't hear. It's just the modern day. They're creating music to go with the trending dance steps or the trending beats and all of that. So it will, at least I'm not so new generation, and I'm in between the old and the new. So I know what you're talking about as regards hymns. Yes, just the new generation that are not so into, don't know what. But thank you very much for creating that platform to introduce the newer generation to the beauty of hymns. And so before we end, I'd like you to, do you have any advice for the viewers or for the younger generation?
Well, thank you everybody who turned on or turned in today. Thank you so much for listening to me. I am very grateful that you did. My advice to you or to us all is to keep striving to be the best us that we can be. Frankly, if you're not you, who will be you? God so believes in you that he created you, and you're here for a reason and a purpose. Yours is to seek. There is no seeker that has ever been left without finding what they're seeking. If you seek truly in truth and in spirit, the answers will come to you. I'm here. I'm available to be reached. My name is Ezineku Frekanem. So if you search for me on Facebook, you find me. If you have a question you want to ask, you want to talk one-on-one, I'm here. I'll listen and I'll share of whatever knowledge that I have. I have a passion for people finding themselves and doing well and going on to live fulfilling lives. And so, yes, we can handhold each other and then keep going. But listen, don't give up. Don't entertain the fears and don't despair. You are made fearfully and beautifully, irrespective of what the world is saying or what is going on around you. There's a God who thinks so much of you that he sent his only begotten son to come and die for you. So you have every reason to just want to keep going on. And just before you arrive, take one up you from me. Thank you very much. Thank you, Esi, for having me.
It was a great pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you so much.
Remember everyone, thank you. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for the love you've been showing Gist with SA. Until next time, remember, stay positive, stay happy, stay mended, and up you.
Up you.
Bye.
Bye. Love you guys. Bye.